Welcome to the Jobs Report podcast by Swob, the job search platform that lets you swipe to success. Each episode, hosts Stephanie and Alexander Florio bring you expert insights on career trends, job hunting, and forging your path in the modern world of work. Your career success starts here, so let's dive in.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Jobs Report podcast brought to you by Swob.
Hey everyone, welcome back.
Today we're going to get into a little something where we're talking about something that's going around that most people I know are sick. What the heck do you do when you're sick and you got to go to work?
Germs and Job.
How do you handle that situation? And basically, what do you do? So I want to provide you guys with some tips on what you should be doing and also share a funny story that I did that maybe
don't do.
Not be doing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think first of all, you want to be, of course, fair to your employer and fair to your colleagues. So if you have a fever the night before, one of my biggest tips is try to let your employer know as soon as possible if you're not feeling good. Things happen, people get sick, especially now so many people are sick, weather changing and it being cold outside, time of the year. Like, just let your employer know.
The biggest thing is people are human. Everybody gets sick. Everybody understands. And especially going through a pandemic, I think everybody understands even more so. Now, the biggest thing here is I think you have to have a bit of etiquette. There's a little bit of a respect factor that comes in if you're not feeling well. Obviously, it's not proper etiquette. If you're sick, it is what it is. But that doesn't mean you can call in sick 10 minutes before work starts because never mind your employer, never mind your managers, you're really throwing your fellow coworkers under the bus if you do that. And it puts a lot more pressure on them. So I think obviously if you're not feeling well, nobody wants to be around a sick person. Nobody wants to get sick themselves. You have to have some sort of a level of respect where you got to give them at least some time letting them know, listen, I'm not feeling well. I need a day. And it's best that I'm not around you if I'm feeling this way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a matter of respect and timing. Give some time. Don't be that person calling in 10 minutes before. I remember working in retail back when I was in high school and people would do that all the time. And you know what we would do? We would sit there and go like, screw that person. Now we all have to stay a little bit later. Now we all have to pick up the slack. And it's like, yeah, I get it. You're sick, but you're just kind of screwing over your coworkers when you do
just
that.
Try to let
everyone know. Give some notice. That's all. It's pretty simple.
And also too, people don't want to know maybe what you're sick with. Like, try to just keep it light and professional. Like, hey, I'm not feeling good. I got a fever. Whatever it may be. We don't need to know that.
We don't need to go in detail here.
Throwing up green stuff. Like, we don't need to know.
We don't need to know you were on the toilet all night.
Yeah. Keep it light and professional, and that's it. Like, just let us know you're not feeling good and you can't make
it. Hey, boss, I was on the can all night. I can't. TMI. We're good.
Too much. And even checking out like your company policy. So obviously, depending on where you work, how long you're sick. You have my son, for example, he was sick for 2 weeks. If you're out for that long, maybe you need a doctor's note. Who knows? Yeah. So check out your company's policies as well. And chances are, if you are sick for that long, you probably are going to the doctor anyways.
For sure.
You may as well get that doctor's note anyways.
Listen, nobody wants to be sick for 2 weeks. Like, I don't think anybody is lying in that case where they're going, oh, I need 2 weeks to recover. It's like, I don't think anybody wants to do that. And unless it's like serious where, like you said, you're really like, you got some issues going on, you need to go to the doctor constantly and you need, like, you have that proof. But it's like, nobody's going to be doing, your point being, if you're sick for 2 weeks and it's really putting you out, you're going to the doctor and it's not going to be a fun 2 weeks if you're really, really not feeling well.
Even too, when you're sick, honestly, just take the time to really get better and rest and relax. Like, the employers, like you said, especially since the pandemic, I feel like people are way more accepting of like, hey, you don't feel
100%.
good, stay home. Like, how do we
100%.
not really push this before? I remember going to work and having a fever. Like, what the heck was I thinking? And who would want to be beside somebody who has a fever? Like, I wouldn't even want that. Why was that happening?
At this point now too, let's just say like I was a manager of a retail store and I had somebody who was coming in and they were like dying, but like they had a fever, they weren't feeling well at all, like sniffles, coughing, sneezing. Why are you here? Go home.
Yeah,
I don't want to get sick.
Remember to take time to relax and rest and get better so that you could come back to work and be 100%.
I think that's such a like old school mentality where it's like, oh, you have 100-degree fever, you're fine. Go suck it up and go to work and go do whatever, go to school, whatever it is. But it's like, no. Like, those times are long gone. Like, especially like, I don't want to bring it up here, but ever since COVID, it's like people are even more aware of this and even more kind of conscious about this. If it is something where you are actually going to be putting other people at risk, then let them know. Like, it'd be one thing, you come in, you have a little tiny sniffles. Yeah, sure, you can pull that off. But if you're sick, you have a fever, you're coughing, sneezing, puking, whatever, stay home. Nobody's going to fault you for that. Quite honestly, I think a lot of people that really are sick, that are going through those symptoms of like vomiting and really high fever and laying on the couch, they'd rather be at work than laying on the couch feeling like crap. So
exactly. So you have no stories with calling in sick? Like every time you called in sick, it was legit?
I can't, honestly, I never really did call in sick much. Like, I don't have anything that comes to mind. Like, the only time I wasn't sick, but I mean, if I was thinking of some story, the only time I ever really called in was when I broke a rib playing hockey on a Sunday night. And I called my manager that night and let her know that, I don't think I'm coming into work tomorrow. And she asked why. I said, well, I broke my rib. And she's like, okay, you're not coming in tomorrow, stay home. So I did.
You did it the night before, so that's good. You were using...
Yeah, I did. I gave her ample note. Well, I gave her as much notice as I could, but I honestly can't recall any story off the top of my head where I called in sick. I'm sure there has been. I'm not saying I was the perfect employee back in the day, but I'm sure there's some stories, but honestly, I can't think of any right now. I know you have a story though.
Yeah, I have a story. So when I was a while ago working in retail, honestly, I never really called in sick either, but this one morning, my girlfriends were getting together for breakfast and I would work like Saturdays, Sundays. Basically, the girls, my friends, were getting together for breakfast and it was a Sunday morning and I had serious FOMO and was like, you know what? Because I never call in sick, I think today's my day. Like, I'm gonna do it. My heart was racing, calling the manager. I did it. I was like, I gave Oscar-worthy performance, showing that I was sick. Like, it was great. I was like, wow, I did it. Then, this is showing that karma is real. When I got to the breakfast place, both of my managers were walking out of the restaurant as I was walking into the restaurant. And it was a small entrance, so like I was holding the door.
They saw you, they knew.
They fully saw me and they're like, what are you doing? And my heart dropped.
Getting breakfast?
And then I had to keep the Oscar-worthy performance going, so I pretended out of nowhere that I was sick, and I started coughing, pretending I was cold, and then they looked at me so weird, but they were going into work and realized that I called in sick, and I got in so much trouble after, and I thought, I am not doing this again. And that breakfast, I didn't even eat anything because I had so many butterflies in my stomach, I had knots in my stomach that I felt so terrible.
You didn't feel terrible, you got caught.
I got caught. I would have felt great if I was having breakfast with the girls.
No kidding.
Like, having a mimosa or something.
Little eggs Benny.
100% eggs Benedict, but I got caught. I'll never forget that feeling, literally seeing them and my heart just dropping. It was horrible. So, with that said, I would advise you not calling in sick unless you're sick. Because you never know where you're going to see somebody, and let alone your manager. Those were good times. I think I really pissed them off that time. So, but here we are, new day. But that's my
water under the bridge now.
For a little story there. So, what are you gonna do? And the breakfast wasn't even worth it. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I think these are some good tips that we have if you are not feeling good, especially during this time of the year.
Just be honest.
Feel better. Just be honest and try to.
Don't go for mimosas and breakfast and lie.
Yeah, if you do, maybe don't go near where you work, because that.
Yeah, that's another smart thing, but that's not us giving that advice.
All right, thanks everyone for listening. We'll talk soon.
Thanks everybody.